Today, in world politics, we are going to look at a highly critical global issue that everyone is closely watching. If there is a country known as the world's largest energy powerhouse, it is Russia. Right now, Ukraine has targeted the economic backbone of this very Russia. Recently, Ukraine launched an aggressive drone attack on major oil refineries located in southern Russia. If you look at whether this is just an ordinary military strike, no, it is not. It is being described as an international energy war carried out to completely paralyze Russia's economy. Reports have emerged stating that this attack caused a massive fire at the oil refinery and resulted in the one of the dead person. This has caused massive shock waves globally. Following this incident, Russian President Vladimir Putin came before the international community and delivered a highly fiery retaliatory speech. In this video, we are going to clearly look at the 5 most critical points from Putin's speech, the exact nature of the warning he issued to Western nations, and how President Putin is reacting to these major attacks on Russia's energy infrastructure. Before diving into the video, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon next to the if you can see our videos instantly. Now let's get into the video. The first point is the infrastructure attacks. The first major thing we are going to look at how Russian President Putin views this Ukraine drones attack and how he criticized them in front of global community. Speaking at the Congress of Russian leading political party, United Russia, Putin immediately began leveling severe and passionate accusations against Ukrainian government. He noted that while it is standard during a war to launch attacks on military positions, Ukraine is now penetrating deep into Russian domestic territories to launch drones strikes on oil refineries and energy infrastructure. He openly and directly stated that this can absolutely not to be accepted as a military action or a wartime maneuver. It is a blatant act of terrorism. You may ask, why Putin calls this is a terrorist act? Putin himself provided a key reason for this. He stated that in this current situation, the Ukrainian military is unable to face Russian army on the front lines of the war zone. Across the massive front line, the Ukrainian military is continuously retreating because they cannot directly defeat Russia on the battlefield. Ukraine has proudly resorted to terrorist methods within Russia's domestic borders to hide their defeats and setbacks. Putin leveled this major accusation and emphasizing this isn't just an allegation but 100% truth. Furthermore, Putin stated that the Kyiv administration under Zelensky has absolutely no care for its own citizens or innocent Ukrainian civilians. The truth is that they are listening to Western nations and turning their own people into scapegoats for this war. On the other hand, Ukrainian current plan is deliberately destroy the infrastructure necessary for the daily livelihood of Russian civilians. Putin also broke a shocking piece of news global stage, revealing that Ukraine is continually trying to secretly recruit traitors inside Russia to execute conspiracies, sabotage, and terrorist bombings. And we are going to move to the point 2, the Russian unity. The second major point Putin emphasized is that the unity of the Russian people is their greatest strength. He proudly stated that Russia has faced countless challenges like this before and undoubtedly overcome this one as well. While Russia is currently in a high critical situation, he strongly affirmed that internal unity and genuine patriotism of the Russian public are their greatest assets, which no foes in the world can shake. And the third point is going to be the role of the West and NATO. The next we are look how Putin completely tore into the Western nations, including the US and NATO, who are pulling the strings behind this entire war. Regarding this, Putin stated that the Western parliamentary powers and their leaders have been completely unable to face and defeat Russia face to face in the battlefield. He openly declared that despite the West is planning heavily to inflict a strategic defeat on Russia, they couldn't do a single thing in the military. He claimed that since they cannot win on the battlefield, Western nations have started their next dirty tactic, trying to trigger the massive political crisis inside Russia and stoking internal conflicts and divisions among the public. However, Putin openly stated that these Western conspiracies will not work inside Russia because Russia people stand strong and united. Putin's core accusation is that Western nations unable to clash directly are using Ukraine as a mere tool against Russia for their own selfish politics. In other words, while Ukrainian citizens are dying on battlefield, Western countries are fueling the war behind the supplying weapons and funds and showing zero concern for the Ukrainian people. To make matters worse, Ukraine is now deliberately launching terrorist attacks targeting civilians, infrastructure like oil refineries and public citizens, yet the Western nations that lecture the world democracy are closing their eyes and acting completely oblivious to the blatant acts of terrorism. This is 100% the reality. When Russia hits an ammunition depot near a residential area and it causes even a minor collateral damage, Western and European nations amplify it massively. But when Ukraine directly attacks residential areas and kills civilians, the West acts blind and doesn't utter a single word. This explanatory proves that the West is not acting out of justice, but purely for self-interest. Putin exposed this openly. However, Putin delivered a powerful counter-response, issuing a stern warning: no matter what conspiracies the West cooks up to block Russia's progress, Russia will shatter them and move forward. No one can control or paralyze Russia. He wanted the West not to lay a finger on Russia, saying they possess the strength, resources, and above all, the political courage to protect their long-term security and deliver a massive counter-blow. And a point 4 is economic resilience. Despite the immense pressure from the war and the global economic sanctions, Russia has no intentions of abandoning its long-term goals. Putin stated that while they might make minor adjustments to suit the current environment, they will absolutely not stop any of their strategy development programs and will implement them fully. He announced that they are translating the Russian economy and completely new technological level. The government will fully execute its social responsibilities, including boosting domestic industries, creating high-paying jobs, and contributing roads and housing. And the last point is the new generation of leaders. Finally, we come to the last and most critical point. Putin believes this war has taught Russia a massive lesson. He proudly states that the soldiers standing on the battlefield to protect the nations are the true new leaders of Russia. He added that their role will not end on the battlefield. They must also take up leadership roles in the national political, economical, and civic administration sectors, and the party has already begun working on this. Furthermore, Putin clearly asserted that every election conducted in Russia will happen honestly, according to the people, while completely free from foreign interference. And my conclusion is, instead of backing down out of fear from Ukraine escalating attacks, Putin has made clear that Russia will retaliate even stronger economically, militarily. We will have to wait and see how this echoes in global geopolitics and what changes it brings international politics, particularly crude oil prices. It is evident from Putin's stance that he will not back down and will continue his aggressive actions and strategic moves. What do you think about this? Let us know about these comments below. I hope this information shared in this video was new to you. If it is, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our updates. I will meet you soon in the next video with more fresh information.